Bringing up the past, okay? Listen, y'all. As much as we try to avoid it, it is a non-negotiable, okay? It is a non-negotiable. A couple that is looking to repair their relationship, a couple that is looking to repair their communication, it is a non-negotiable that you have to talk about the past. Why? Because avoiding talking about the past is like having multiple wounds, okay? Multiple wounds that have not been treated and have not been given any kind of attention to.
And when you do that, it's like taking everything and sweeping it under the rug. We always talk about, sweeping things under the rug. What's going to happen is going to be so much dirt, so many things up under that rug at that point in time. When it comes off, it's going to be a lot more chaos. So at times in marriage, you're going to want to have to address those passages, whether it's betrayal, trust, different issues that you and your spouse are going through. But the whole thing is going back there, discussing it, but not getting stuck there. Not getting stuck there.
Yep.
And what happens is a lot of people get stuck there. And when you get stuck there, what does that feel like? Tension, more chaos, more arguments, someone don't want to come home, just different things like that. Or you just start feeling like roommates in a relationship because you have all these unresolved issues that no one has addressed. So you can move forward.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like when sometimes like we want to feel good in a relationship, and in order for you to feel good in a relationship, there has to be transparency, there has to be honesty, right? There has to be there has to be some level of authenticity, and there has to be an organic love and passion there and trust and all those things. So when we don't talk about our past, and when we just kind of act like it never happened, or we act like it's just not there, it makes the relationship kind of feel somewhat fake. It feels a little fake, right? Because there's stuff that we have not addressed. And so in the moment, we're enjoying ourselves, but we really haven't addressed the things that we need to bring up and kind of just talk about. And again, we would know firsthand because we ourselves went through this so much, okay? We had so many conversations that we had to have about the past. There's a lot of things that we needed to bring up. There's a lot of situations, a lot of scenarios, things that were said, harmful things that were said.
Yes.
Disrespectful things that were said, just a load of stuff, right? Things that were done. And those conversations were not always easy, okay? But what we did learn from that is how to make them easy and how to make them pleasant, and actually, ironically enough, to make them beneficial, right? So we're going to get into that.
So the thing about, talking about things in the past, a lot of couples get stuck there. And the thing is they get stuck there because there's so many things that's in the past. When you start bringing the past, your feelings start getting involved. Feelings start getting involved, and a lot of people start pointing the finger, which is common. That's what we're going to do. We're going to say, you did this to me, and the conversation just starts going nowhere. And next thing you know, you at each other for hours or even days where the house is like, it's just tension and tight in the house because can't nobody move forward. Because why? You got stuck in the past relationship. You got stuck what happened past in your relationship, whether that's 5 months ago, 6 months ago, and sometimes even a year ago. So dwelling in the past, you have to learn how to move forward, when you talk about those past conversations.
So let's get into how to make the past actually beneficial, right? How do we do it? How do we take the past? How do we take everything we went through? How do we take all the hurt, all the pain, all the, if you want to call it trauma, how do we take all of that and make it beneficial, okay? Here's one thing, okay? You can always leverage your past. You can always leverage your past. Why? Because the past has lessons. The past shows change, right? The past shows this is what we were doing, and are we still doing that? Has it been years later, and are we still doing that thing that happened in the past? And so when we look back there, right, we can absolutely look and see, what do we need to change? What do we need to do different? If it didn't work back then, it's not going to work now. So how can we do this a little differently? How can we handle those disagreements differently? How can we handle those issues with in-laws differently? How can we have those conversations differently? And so now what you're doing is you're not getting stuck in the past, finger pointing, spending hours about whose fault it was, blaming this and blaming that, being upset for days or weeks. What you're doing now is you're taking your past and you're leveraging it.
That's right. And things happen in the past for our learning. If we could just look back and find out where's the lesson in this, and the thing about, looking back, finding where's the lesson in it, it's about just not, it's about taking accountability. It's definitely about being accountable for your actions. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way how you leverage and learn from the past. Because if two people are going back and forth with each other, what's going to happen? The conversation is going to go nowhere. It's going to go around in circles. But when you're able to look back, learn, and take accountability for your actions, for what role you played, and not get in a defense mode. Because a lot of times we get in the defense mode. Well, you did this, you did this, you did this, and we get defensive, and that's when we start throwing those blows, or even getting downright disrespectful, calling each other names, and just saying hurtful things to each other. So we can look back at the past and leverage that by being accountable for our actions. It's so much further that the relationship can go, and you won't be stuck in the past. You'll actually be moving forward from the lessons from the past.
So all of that. Now let's get into some tips on how to actually make it easy and pleasant to talk about the past without forcing it, right? Because we don't want it to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel some level of discomfort, but what can we do in order for it to not feel so dreadful, right? Let's get into some of those tips. Number 1 is avoid getting stuck in the past. Avoid getting stuck there. Why? Because as we said earlier, getting stuck there means you're wasting time. It means you're reliving that moment. It means you're sitting in that energy. You're sitting in those emotions again. And so what ends up happening is that past is becoming your present again, right? So that's number 1. Avoid getting stuck there.
And the next thing is, know when this conversation is not bearing fruit. Know when it's not going nowhere. You have to be, totally honest with yourself and look like, you know what? This conversation is going nowhere. So by us keep talking about this past situation, what is it bringing forth? Is it bringing forth more chaos, more drama in the relationship? Or are we actually learning? Are we actually learning and getting something from it? Are we just, just sitting there going back and forth? Or are we actually trying to come up with a solution that we can agree on to move forward, to move past the past?
That's right. And number 3 is accountability to the goal, okay? A lot of times, what couples do when they try to address the past or address a situation, a disagreement, an argument, whatsoever have you, we don't go into that conversation with a goal. We don't go into that conversation with a purpose. And so when you go into a conversation or you're in a conversation, there's no goal, there's no purpose. Where's it going? All over the place, right? It's disorganized. Nobody knows when to stop. Nobody knows their limits. And we're going on and on for hours talking about this thing. Now we're talking about this other thing and this other thing, and we've gotten nowhere. And so what that does to the relationship is it makes you feel even less productive. So a conversation that was meant to be productive because there was no accountability to the goal of the relationship, it's now feeling a lot less productive. And so now we're both frustrated. We're both at each other. Why? Because we did not get to a goal. We did not have a goal. We did not come into the conversation with a goal, with a purpose. And now what are we doing? We're finger pointing again. We're blaming. We're getting frustrated about the situation. And so having accountability to the goal is one of the top 3 tips in order to address the past so that it is easy, so that it is pleasant, and so that it is beneficial. You have to have a goal, and somebody got to step up
and say, stop.
Yes.
Somebody got to step up and say, stop. This is going nowhere. We're off topic. Let's not go any further, because I see where this is going. Someone has to be that person and bring the conversation back to the original topic, so it's not going all over the place. We had a lot of conversations like that, but now we're able to. If it even starts venturing out like that, let's stop right here. Let's stay on this particular topic. Let's not go nowhere. Because if we go in other places, you're never going to get to the goal or the point of that particular conversation that you was actually addressing, because everything else starts coming into play. And that's why one thing, we're saying accountability to the goal, and also being accountable for yourself. Knowing, like, you know what? I need to stop. I'm about to say something that's not going to bring forth fruit. I'm already saying stuff that didn't bring forth. Let me stop myself right there and take the proper actions so we can move forward in this conversation, actually make this conversation productive, and we're not stuck in the past, reliving this moment again and again and again.